What's up, what's up, what's up, Soul Sex Tribe? I'm Autumn, the Enlightened Daughter. For those of you who don't know me, and for those of you who do, welcome back, High Vibe Tribe. Love you so much. So many channelings coming through. So many channelings coming through. It's like put your business on blast day. Every situation that I'm growing through now, it seems like I need to be talking about it to all of you, or telling you all about it, not talking to you about it, but kind of like telling you about it so that you're experiencing these growth cycles as well, I suppose. Um, Whatever. I just do what I'm guided to do because I know at the end of the day it'll make sense whether I realize it or not. So, hi. Um, in this season of discernment and going within and analyzing and reassessing and re-examining, right? We also had in the midst of all of these retrogrades, in the midst of all of these energies, we had Mercury retrograde and Venus retrograde, right? So we had exes coming back. We had feelings where we're like romanticizing the past and really just kind of like had the rose colored glasses on for a lot of things. And for many of you, those exes coming back kind of filled a lonely spot, right? Like, I feel like if you love someone, like if you truly love someone, you could never stop loving that person. Now, does that mean that you're in love with that person? Absolutely not. But I don't think you ever stop loving that person, right? Having like caring about them, being concerned or whatever. And yet, also need to be mindful of the people that we may have loved that did not necessarily love us back in return, right? Those that showed up in our lives as narcissistic or toxic or, false twins or karmic soul teachers or, whatever label you want to use. There are people in our lives that just taught us a lot in a really painful way. And a lot of it was masked through the lens of love or masked, in a cloak of love. So, one of my exes and I broke up, and throughout our relationship, there was just two on the clock. There was just a lot of kind of red flags, but I give everyone the benefit of the doubt and I give everyone grace. And, kind of sort of temper, but I have, and also, let me say this caveat, I also am spicy, right? I can also be quick tempered. So I don't get really affected by people that have a temper because I come from a family of people that blow up that are kind of volatile, and it's just how people kind of communicate, right? So I don't words like you could say all that hollering, da, 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 all that shit, and I don't pay that shit no mind. I don't literally pay it no mind, right? So when I see a person with a temper, I'm like, oh, that's cute, oh, you're giving your power away, all right? Because that's all I think of it. I'm like, every time somebody makes you mad, you give your power away. So, you might think that you're doing something right now with all that hooping and hollering and yelling, but all you're doing is just like making that person way more powerful in this moment. So I just like to observe. And I saw a couple of things here or there. I ain't pay him no mind because I ain't paying him no mind. And then towards the end, when things were ending or when things were over because God timed us out, 333 at the sun o'clock. And I literally, when I tell you the universe was like, pause the relationship right now, like it was like, stop and wait and watch. And I'm like, what? And it was like, don't make no moves, just stop and wait and watch. Just stop and wait. Stop what you're doing, wait and watch and see how this continues, how it plays out when you gotta stop everything. See what happens. All right. So I put everybody on pause. When I say I put everybody on pause, everybody got on timeout. My internet wasn't working, my phone wasn't working. I was in an isolated area. Only one person knew where I was located. Everybody got put on timeout because when the universe says pause, I'm pausing everything. I don't trust nothing right now. You know what I'm saying? Like unless the divine. What's really good? What's really happening? How are people gonna start responding when I shut things down? And I saw some of the nastiest things come out of this person's mouth, right? The behavior, the words, like I was really taken aback and shocked and dismayed, but grateful, one, because I got to see it, but really like annoyed by it and like upset by it because I'm like, wow, like this is a person who says that they love you. Look how quickly the energy changes when they don't get what they want, right? And so, saying all that to say this, be mindful of people and how they show up and how they respond when they're not getting the things that they want, when their money is funny, when there's a big death or illness in their family, when things aren't necessarily going their way, right? Like, how are they responding with you? Are you're part of the conversation and like holding space for one another? Are they projecting all that shit onto you? Are they hitting you with low blows, right where it hurts while you're down, like the type of person that kicks you while you're down? I do not respect those people at all. Like, I do not respect the person that is going to be nasty and say some slick shit out their mouth to you already when you're in the midst of like a storm or chaos. Like, I don't respect it. And I'm seen it and I've seen it and I'm like, wow, So this person contacted me and part of me wants to be like, wow, you have the audacity to contact me. Like, and just, my pride and ego was ready to kind of respond immediately and be like, what the fuck, and engage. But that's pride and ego, right? Because from a soul level, right, they've already transcended this energy. Why would I lower my vibration to entertain something that is no longer a part of my life, right? Like, you are feeling a great loss right now because whatever deceptions and things you had going on blow up in your face, and you're realizing what you sacrificed and what you lost in the midst of all of that, right? God is always protecting me. And I keep telling people that, and I think people just think that I'm just like using words, but I'm like, y'all don't understand like just how protected I am. Like, I know that I'm very well protected. I know that I'm very well protected. I am comfortable walking around in this life because I know I'm very well protected. I know my children are very well protected. So when I know that you're doing some funny shit and I'm seeing how the universe is moving around us now in this, situation, thank you for the truth, thank you for the honesty, and now I know what's up, right? And so now in the situation with this person, I'm like, wow, this is what you're like when you get upset. Good to know. Dodge the bullet there. Like, thank you. That's what's up. Another situation recently, same kind of energy, same type of person. Money wasn't working or they weren't getting their way. They didn't have the ability to control me or dictate my actions or the timeline in which I was doing things because, again, things were getting paused and timed out. I'm like, that's interesting. I wonder why. But in every situation where things are getting paused and timed out, getting shown people's true characters. You need to start looking at people's characters. See how they are in these situations when things are not going favorably for them. Are you the punching bag? Are you the doormat? Are you, the everything's being projected onto you? Is everything your fault? Right? There's those conversations too. Well, if you would have did this faster, or if you would have said this one, or if you would have did this when I told you to, or if you would have said this to this person, or if you would have took this over here, everything is your fault. Or nothing is ever good enough. Or they say some slick shit to you while you're in the midst of something, right? That you a vulnerability or a sensitivity, right? Just because they tried, just because they think they can, right? Trying to dig, right? I want you guys to start looking at people's characters. I want you to stop romanticizing right now and remember what went wrong and why, right? And for some of you, these exes that are coming back are, you know, far back, right? It's been a minute since you've seen them. And hopefully there has been some actual true growth, right? Like, you've grown, they've grown, you see the growth, you can hear it within the conversations, and you can check by a person's lifestyle. You can tell by how they're living whether they're on their truth or not, whether they're mean what they say or if they're bullshitting, right? It's just look at their life, look at their health, look at their vitality, look at their energy, look at the people they're around, look at what they're doing with their free time. It's really not hard to figure out, right? People tell on themselves all the time. Some of you just need to shut up and listen sometimes. Two ears, one mouth, right? So, you know, for the other part of you, there's the ones that are coming back that are recent exes that haven't changed shit. They're just lonely or bored. or want to keep you in the rotation, want to have access to you, right? I used to get that, those text messages you get every once in a while, every few weeks or whatever. Hey boo, hey sweetie, hey honey, just checking in, seeing how you doing. No, you just want to still have access to me. You want to see if I'm gonna respond. You want to see if I'm gonna text. You want to see how quickly it is. You want to see if you could come through. You want to see if somebody gonna answer my phone. Like, what are we, fucking 12? You know, like everybody grow up. So a lot of these energies are coming back to have you face the truth of your own healing and growth, right? Have you actually evolved from that situation, or is it still triggering you, right? Are you willing to revisit that kind of distorted, toxic situationship or relationship right now just because you're lonely and kind of bored, right? Because I get that. I get as it's been a very isolating journey when we're healing, right? And especially, we're in Virgo season. Virgo is a hermit in the tarot, and that's all about, isolation. You're going in a cave, you're going within, you're, in your own thoughts. You're kind of like getting guidance from your higher self, right? Like you're like, I need some peace and quiet. I need to think, right? I need to like be with my own thoughts, right? Fantastic, right? But we're isolated. We're by ourselves in a cave. And so as we're healing, growing, evolving from these relationships, and these situationships that we've allowed ourselves to be in, sometimes we need to take a moment to ourselves. And then that moment becomes a little lengthy, and then we're kind of like, all right, I'm good now. But then the universe is like, are you? And so we kind of like get timed out a little bit longer. For many, many people, I just see you should be healing and not dating, and I say that all the time. Like, you need to take time for yourself. I took time for myself. I had to take time for myself. And, at first it was kind of like, all right, that's kind of why I kind of bored. Like nobody's playing on your phone and you're not texting, nothing. You're not entertaining anything, right? But you're being with your own energies. You're learning to love yourself. You're reevaluating things that happened. You're looking at these situations and, why they ended, or how you could have showed up differently, how they could have showed up differently, what you're expecting now, right? You have different expectations and desires, hopefully, now that you've grown through these different situationships. And so when this old energy is coming back, it's for you to be like, all right, is this the energy that I'm still in alignment with? Is this something that I still want in my life? Has this energy changed at all? Right? Because hopefully you've been changing this whole time as well as that person's been changing, right? So have they actually changed, or is it gonna be good Tuesday and then right back to the whack ass shit on Wednesday, right? Again, is this a comeback because it's actually love and remorse and a willingness to, participate fully and show up fully in this dynamic? Or is it boredom and loneliness and filling a gap? And maybe, I had some free time the other night, or homeboy ain't answered the phone, or shorty was busy with her man, or whatever it is, and now I was reminiscing about you, or I was thinking about you, or you know what I'm saying? So be very discerning in this season, and especially while you're being isolated, right? You're being isolated because you need time to heal. You're being isolated because you need time to grow. You're being isolated so you can learn to trust in your wisdom and your higher self and your inner understanding, right? And to not be distracted by all that's around you. Your divine counterparts are your divine counterparts. Like, nothing is going to stop you from, you know, accessing that if you decide to take this time by yourself. And if one of these exes happens to be your divine counterpart, then the universe will coordinate things for you guys to be together. But it's not going to come in a situation where you're sitting there like being disrespected or violated, or, lied to or betrayed by some person and their lack of like emotional maturity, or compassion, or even fucking common sense sometimes, right? It's just like ridiculous. It really is. Anyway, so Be mindful who you're dealing with. Make sure they're not kicking you while you're down. You're not the punching bag. You're not a doormat. It's not always your fault, right? Person that lacks accountability is not an emotionally mature person. You have to be accountable for your actions, good, bad, or indifferent. You have to be accountable for how you talk to people. Treat people how you want to be treated, right? You got to be respectful. You got to be mindful because things that once said cannot be unsaid, right? So you want to be really mindful about the things that come out of your mouth. The tongue is a double-edged sword, right? We all know this. There's like two ears and one mouth. Listen as twice as much as you speak, right? Not everything deserves a comment. I'm tired. I'm trying to get a shower. I'll talk to y'all today. I love you. God loves you. Angels surround you, and I will see you guys soon. Later. Have a vibe.